So I'm going to go over the supplies that I use to do my graphite drawings. I use a variety of pencils and blending stumps and erasers and all kinds of fun stuff. So I'm going to explain everything, and I'll have a list of all my supplies on my site. So you can look it up. A lot of these I bought on Amazon, but you can buy them at Michael's or Hobby Lobby or any art supply store. Now the first thing I use is the Bristol Strathmore paper. If you can see this is on a pad. It's 100 pounds, which means it's nice and heavy. It's acid free, so your drawings won't fade and the paper won't turn yellow. I like the Bristol vellum surface, and that has a little bit of a tooth to it. Not too much like watercolor where it'll be bumpy. This is great for portraits, but it's enough of a tooth that it's not slick and the graphite pencils will adhere to it. So there's other brands of Bristol board vellum that you can use, but I personally like the Strathmore. Now the pencils I use a variety of pencils. First off, I like to use these. These are the mechanical pencils, and let me look up the brand name. They are let's see, what are they? They're Staedtler, and they're called Mars Techno, 2 millimeters. And if you can see, they're like retractable, so the lid comes right out. I happen to have 3 of them, but you can have just one holder. But I like to keep, because I switch them off, I have a different hardnesses to produce different types of lines and softness and hardness. So I have the 2H, and I have the 2B, and the 4B. So those are the leads. So this is how the leads come. They come in these, and you slide them out, and then you put them in your holder. And like I said, you can have one holder, but it's a hassle to like get one of these and change the lead and then change it. So I just have the 3 that I know that I use the most for these leads. Now, the next thing I use are different, I'm sorry. Also, I use the Faber-Castell number 8B graphite pencil. That does extra dark and black. I like it for like dark hair and really dark shadows. That makes a really dark color. These leads are nice, but I can't quite get them as dark as I want. I like the high contrast with white and black. So I will use this pencil. Now, for these pencils, I have a sharpener that I love. These will put a nice point on your leads on these mechanical pencils. And this is called a Mars Rotary Action Lead Pointer and Tub. And it has, you can remove the top and throw out the lead, or sometimes I use the graphite that's in here for backgrounds. When I want a background with gray, I use a cotton ball and dump this on a paper plate, get my cotton ball and dip it, and I can get some nice gray areas without having lines from a pencil. And it just snaps right back in. And how you sharpen it is you get one of your pencils, make the lead come out a little further than when you're drawing, and you put it in the hole and just spin it. And it sharpens it, and then you go back to make an extra point. And there's a little soft pad here where you can touch it and it gets rid of the point. They also have little holes here to make it really sharp, but I've never really used that very much. And then be sure before you draw to push your lead back in some so you don't break it. If there's too much lead coming out and you put pressure, it will break. So, and how I sharpen my 8B, I like them really pointed. And I have an electric sharpener that I use. I don't know if you can see it. Let's see. Yeah, you can kind of see it. It's a sharpener. It's called a Bow Stitch, but you can get any brand, but I happen to like this one because it's very powerful and it has different holes for different size pencils. I use a lot of colored pencils and pastel pencils, and they're fatter, so this is nice because it turns. Plus, because this is such a heavy duty one, the pencil lead will get really sharp on those soft pencils, where sometimes they tend to just break. So I love this, and you just stick it in the top and you got a nice sharp point. The next thing I was going to talk about was erasers. I have a kneaded eraser. They sell them in little squares that are gray like this. This is in a little box. Some of them, they're just in little wrappers. what you do is you get it out and you pull it and you stretch it. And so I love using these erasers because you can, on a drawing, you just kind of touch it on the drawing and it doesn't leave lines where you're erasing. It'll just really smooth out your drawing. So this is what I mostly use. Now when I want to erase lines or really small areas, I have this eraser and it is ultra fine. They have different thicknesses, but I like this one in particular. And it's a Mono Zero. It's like a Mono Zero. That's what it's called. It has different, how you use it is, it comes with, oh, this one's almost gone. It comes with refills, and the refills are like on a plastic stick with an eraser on the end. See, this one's almost gone. And you put it in like a pencil or pen, and you push this button on the, like a retractable ballpoint pen, and you push it in. And so you can pull it out or push it in. Like I said, that one's almost gone. Maybe I'll just go ahead and replace it. So I'm going to stick that in there and push it in to where I have just a little bit let out open. That way I can erase really small lines with this. Let's see, do I have another eraser? No, that's about all that I use for erasers. Now, another thing I do when I'm using graphite drawings, I use these blending stumps, and sometimes they're called tortillions. What they are wrapped paper that come to a point, and after you've drawn your picture, you use these to smooth it out. It blends darkness and lightness together, and it also makes a nice gray, almost like a watercolor look. So they come in different sizes. When you get them like at Hobby Lobby or wherever, you can get a package with a variety of sizes, which I really like, because sometimes I really want tiny pointed ones like this one for around an eye. And then like if it's a big area with cheeks and the face, I use the real fat ones here, and you can do a big area. Now what it also sometimes sells with it, which I love these, and this is I'm almost out of, this is a sandpaper pad, and you use them and you just peel them off and you throw that away and you've got this. So a lot of times when I'm using my blending stumps, they'll get a lot of black on it, and if I'm trying to like do another area that needs to be really clean, I will rub it on the sandpaper and get that graphite off, and then it's ready to go again. Plus it helps use these over and over instead of just using a little bit and throwing it away. Now eventually I do have to throw them away because they'll get worn and there's not a fine point. And sometimes if it's really flat, I'll use the sandpaper to make a nice fine point so I can get really tiny little areas that I need. Also, when you're drawing, sometimes there's fine lines like hairs on a dog's whisker or the pupils of an eye. Instead of trying to draw around those, I use these, let's see, let me grab them. They're ball embossing styluses. Now I have a bunch of different ones. This came as a set, these wooden ones. And I like all of them because if you can see, I don't know if you can see, but they have different size little balls. Sometimes I want a little tiny dot, sometimes I want a fatter. You can also use these to make a line. And so what it does is it indents your paper, and as you're doing graphite pencil, everything turns black except where you've indented your paper. Now sometimes if you make a mistake, you can color in that indent, but you just have to really be careful with what you're doing. But it's great for doing hair and different things like that, that you don't want to have to erase the lines. Sometimes you erase the lines and that helps, but sometimes you just can't. I like this one in particular because it unscrews like an X-Acto knife where the little piece comes out, and it's a little tiny point, but it has extra stylus balls that you put in here, and so you only need this one. Now why I have so many of these is because sometimes I'll lose them. And I'm like, oh, where is it? It takes me forever. Well, now I've happened to find them all, and there's a whole bunch of them. So I actually have even 2 of these that are the retractable ones, or replaceable. And then I have some that are really large. This would be like a really big circle you want to keep. So they come in all different sizes, and it's really helpful. The other tool, I use an electric eraser. Let's see, did I show this? I did not. This is called AFMAT. Any brand will do. I happen to like this one because it has a rechargeable. You can plug it in with a, we'll just plug it in, it's rechargeable. And that way you don't have to have a cord to it, and it works really nice. And it comes with fatter erasers, a little bit wider, and little tiny ones. And so how that works is you just pull this out, and you can replace it with, you know, more erasers. And there's a smaller version of this clamp for little tiny. But this is nice because if you're wanting to do a little bit more hair, you can put it at an angle and erase, and you're erasing nice white lines. So that's really helpful. Or of course, if you make a mistake, you can also use it, and it does a lot better than just a little kneaded eraser. This really will get it clean for you. And since it's a white eraser, it's just very smooth and doesn't damage your paper. Where some erasers that are pink, they're rough and they could damage your drawing paper. And once the paper's ruined, then you have to start over. And believe me, that is not fun at all. The next thing on my supplies are this masking tape. This is white, but a lot of times they're yellow. Masking or drafting tape works really well when you're wanting to tape down your paper, and I'll go over this later, but here's some transfer paper. You'll tape your things in place, your drawings in place, and if you're using regular Scotch tape or something more really sticky, when you pull off the tape, you'll tear your drawing, your paper, and that's really a nightmare. So this tape it'll hold, but it also just comes right up and doesn't damage anything or pull any paper. So this is great. And I'm not sure the name of this one. It looks like it says Kiwi Hub, but it really doesn't matter as long as like it's usually if you go to the drawing section, they'll have different papers, tape, drafting, or masking. So those work great. Now what I do is when I do my drawings, to transfer, well, hold on, let me find my paper. I don't know if I brought it up here or not. Anyway, this is transfer paper. What this is are long rolls of graphite on one side, and the other side is just kind of a slick thing. Now what I like to do is I like to print out what I'm going to draw, the exact size I want, print it out, and so you have to have some kind of printer or some way to do that. I use just my office desk computer, and that looks the computer and printer, and I print exactly the size I want. Then what you do, oh, hold on, I need to do one other thing. Also, what you need to draw them on is a board like this. I don't know if you can see it, but I'll have it on my list. This is a drawing board. This one has a clip on it. I don't even use the clip, so if you don't have a clip, that's actually even better. But it needs to be larger than the size you're going to draw. And I like having a handle because I can carry it with me. And so what I do is I tape the drawing paper. And why you don't just draw from a pad is because you want it really firm underneath. So when you do dark lines, it's not soft. You want a hard wood behind it. So what you do is you would tape one of these. Let me tear it off. You would tape this on your board, and it doesn't have to be a lot of tape. I usually do the four corners so it doesn't slip, but you tape it down like so, and it doesn't have to be straight. You just want it so it doesn't slip and slide, because what you don't want to do is be tracing something off, have it slide, and then you have the wrong image and it's all messed up. Because when you're doing portraits, that's what I'm going to do as a demonstration. It needs to be exact. The mouth, the eyes, everything in correlation with each other has to be exact. So then what I do is this comes in several sheets, but they're real long rolls. So I roll out a sheet about the size I want, just even a little bit larger. I'm not going to do it right now because I'll do that on another day. But what you do is you cut it, and the graphite side, which is the blacker side, you would tape it down. Okay, well, there's that. So I'm not going to use this sheet because it's way too big, but I would cut it, and then I would use this tape and tape this down. So you've got your graphite side, and then you have the print of what you're going to draw. Let's just say it's this. No, yeah. Well, I don't have something in front of me. I'll do it later. But then you're going to tape on top of that what you're going to draw. And I use a hard pencil, like the 2H pencil, and I trace the outer lines of it. but that will be in another demonstration. This is just to demonstrate what supplies you would need to make an excellent graphite drawing. So I hope you enjoyed the video today. This is all you need. I'm going to move this out of the way to make a wonderful masterpiece of your favorite drawing, favorite photo of anything. Like I said, I'm going to do portraits, but you can draw anything. So hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, I would love for you to subscribe to my YouTube channel or like my Facebook page. Thank you.